Good morning guys, and welcome to another day in the life of Pi. After a non-eventful, or maybe it was eventful, evening of sleeping in our car in the middle of Wyoming, the glamorous side of budget travel, we are dashing through Wyoming to South Dakota and hopefully going to see Mount Rushmore. So I'll show you some of Wyoming. It's pretty flat but really beautiful, open land. It is cattle country, so they're pretty famous for their beef, which is, who knew? But we're on our way to South Dakota, so let's go and check it out. Guys, check it out. This train is transporting an aeroplane. So we are entering South Dakota, famous for Mount Rushmore. Half an hour and we should be there. So as soon as we entered South Dakota, it was completely different. Wyoming was all kind of flat plains and quite yellow looking, and then South Dakota is winding mountain roads with green trees and mountain passes all around. It's amazing how you just enter a different state and suddenly the scenery changes completely. Really weird. I'm looking at Mount Rushmore. Oh my god, it's Mount Rushmore.
You're lying.
I'm not lying, look at your wing mirror. This is the drive up to Mount Rushmore. There it is. There is Mount Rushmore. Oh my god. Park the car at Mount Rushmore, $10 for parking, which is pretty expensive, but it does mean that the entrance to seeing Mount Rushmore is actually free. I'm filming from inside the parking garage because the weather is miserable. So it's gonna be really windy out there and you probably won't be able to hear me that much, but let's go and check out Mount Rushmore. So this right here is a statue of Gutzon Borglum, who crafted Mount Rushmore. So here we are guys, standing right beneath Mount Rushmore. What an amazing experience. I have always wanted to see this ever since I was a child, and there it is. It is huge. It's incredibly windy out, so I'm having to kind of hide behind a cave so that you guys can hear me all right. But there it is. There's Mount Rushmore. You have got Washington on the far left, Jefferson, Roosevelt in the middle, and then Lincoln on the far right. Look at it. How epic is that? So you see the gap between Theodore Roosevelt and Abraham Lincoln. That's where Jefferson was supposed to be, but the granite there wouldn't work for it, so that is now just a blank space, and Jefferson's face ended up next to Washington instead. So at the base of Mount Rushmore is the museum, where you can learn more about the carving, the processes involved, all of the workers. Over 400 workers were used to build Mount Rushmore, and it took 14 years, but the concept took over 17 years from the initial kind of concept to actual completion. The sculptor re-sculpted the image multiple times, I think it was 9 times, to get the perfect image that could then be transferred onto the mountain, and it is incredible to learn about. Let's have a wander around, I'll show you some shots of the place, and then we'll go back to the mountain. So this right here is what Mount Rushmore looked like before they started carving. Literally just a blank piece of stone. Guys, check it out, Lene's doing some sculpting. Good work, babe. So this here is one of the original sculptures that the sculpture made. So that's what Mount Rushmore could have looked like, but obviously it changed time and time again, and it was reworked so that it looks like it does today. Here's the finished studio model that the sculpture created, and as you'll see, Washington had buttons on his coat and Lincoln had a full jacket and an ear. If you compare Mount Rushmore to the original sculpture, you'll see that Washington doesn't have any buttons on his jacket and Lincoln is missing an ear. But in 1941 construction finished and obviously they couldn't quite finish off the buttons or the ear. So that's going to be it from Mount Rushmore. Look how incredible it is. Absolutely amazing being here, and it's really surreal standing beneath Mount Rushmore. It's incredible to learn about. I highly recommend coming here. On to the next adventure. So we've been seeing these signs for a place called Waldrug for the best part of 200 miles. They probably started somewhere in Wyoming, and we're now 30 miles away from a town called Wall, where we think this Waldrug place is, and we're having a guess as to how many signs there are until we get to Waldrug. So we're 30 miles out. I've guessed 60. Lene has guessed 82, and we're currently on 2. Give it a second, and we're now on 3, and we're on 4. So we've done 1.2 miles and there's been 4. Let's see how many there are before we get there. That on the hillside is number 32, and we are 10 miles out, and we're about to hit number 33, which is that one right ahead of us. So we made it to Wall Drug Store. 48 signs later, in the space of 30 miles. There's probably over 100 signs that we've seen for this place, and we're finally here, and it looks incredible. Let's take a walk around. So this drugstore even has a shooting range. Let's go and shoot something. Drugstore is now massive, and it's actually the biggest drugstore in the entire world, and all of that is owed to the fact that the 2 owners, the Husted family, decided one day to start offering free ice water. So all of those signs you see on the highway that we were counting as we came in were the original idea to give away free ice water to attract customers to this town that only had 300 people in it. And now this ginormous drugstore exists here, and an entire town is supported by pretty much this drugstore. It's amazing, incredible story. The Wall Drugstore, largest drugstore in the entire world. That's it for tonight, guys. We've had an epic day exploring South Dakota. First up was Mount Rushmore, which was unbelievably cool and definitely the highlight of the day. And then we went on to the world's largest drugstore. I am now in my bed for this evening. That's right, sleeping in a car. Ah, yeah. And until tomorrow, guys, give the video a thumbs up. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until tomorrow, peace out.